October 11th, 1942. 23:32 hours. North of Guadalcanal. The sea is black glass, broken only by phosphorescent wakes slicing through the dark. Hit the subscribe and like button to dive in story. A warm Pacific wind carries the smell of fuel oil and cordite. On the bridge of a Japanese heavy cruiser, an officer peers into the night through binoculars that show him nothing. No moon, no stars, perfect darkness. Somewhere ahead, American ships are supposed to be moving. That is what the reports say. But reports are often wrong. The officer lowers the binoculars, unimpressed. Night fighting is a Japanese specialty. Always has been. Optical rangefinders. Well-trained lookouts. Years of doctrine built on human eyes and instinct. The Americans, by comparison, are loud, inexperienced, and clumsy after sunset. Radar, the officer has been told, will save them. He doesn't believe it. Radar screens flicker. Numbers scroll. Blips appear and vanish. To him, it feels like guessing dressed up as science. No spirit. No intuition. No warrior's sense of distance. Across the water, unseen and silent, USS Helena cuts through the dark at flank speed. Her deck vibrates with restrained power. Below the bridge, operators lean into glowing green scopes. Hands steady, voices calm. Targets are already marked. Range calculated. Bearing locked. Solutions fed directly into the guns. The American fire control system doesn't sleep. It doesn't blink. It doesn't doubt. On the Japanese cruiser, the officer turns away from the night sea. There is nothing to shoot at. Nothing visible. Nothing real. Then, without warning, the darkness explodes. A line of orange flashes erupts on the horizon. Too close, too fast. Shells scream overhead, not wild, not scattered, but precise. Measured. Intentional. The first salvo lands short. The second walks closer. The third? The officer freezes as steel begins to fall exactly where it shouldn't be possible. Somehow, the Americans are firing with perfect accuracy, without seeing a thing. The fourth salvo hits. Not near. Not close. Directly on target. A shell punches into the cruiser's superstructure, tearing through steel as if it were paper. The bridge shudders. Lights snap out. Men are thrown against bulkheads. Somewhere below, a fire blooms, bright and sudden, feeding on paint, wiring flesh. The officer staggers, gripping the rail as the night fills with sound, metal screaming, alarms wailing, shouted orders colliding into chaos. There is still nothing to see outside. No muzzle flashes. No silhouettes. Just darkness and death arriving on schedule. Range, someone shouts. No one answers. Another salvo lands. This one is tighter. The shells fall in a neat pattern, walking across the deck with clinical precision. A gun mount vanishes in a white flash. Shrapnel sighs through exposed crewmen. Training. Discipline. Confidence. All of it evaporates under the realization taking hold. This isn't luck. Across the water, inside the Combat Information Center aboard Helena, the air is cool and controlled. Voices are clipped professional. Target maintaining course. Solution steady. No one raises their voice. No one rushes. Radar feeds range and bearing into the Mark 37 Fire Control Director. Gyros compensate for roll. Computers, electromechanical, humming quietly, predict where the Japanese ship will be, not where it is now. The guns obey instantly, slewing as one. Another command. Fire. The salvo leaves the barrels in perfect synchronization. No delay. No guesswork. On the Japanese cruiser, the officer finally understands. This is not night fighting as he knows it. This is something else, an invisible hand guiding American guns through the dark, faster than human thought. The ship begins to slow. Steering is sluggish. Damage reports pile in, each worse than the last. Fires spread unchecked. Communication lines are severed. Orders die halfway down the passageways. The officer looks again into the night, desperate now, searching for even a hint of the enemy. Still nothing. Only the sound of incoming shells, growing closer together. The Americans are no longer ranging their fire. They have found their mark. And they're not letting go. Flames lick the night sky as smoke curls from the bow of the cruiser. The Japanese officers on deck are no longer confident. Eyes that once scanned for movement now stare blankly into darkness. The chief gunnery officer shouts, but his voice is swallowed by the roar of explosions. Reports from below deck are fragmented. Fire in the aft magazine, flooding in the engine room, casualties mounting with every heartbeat. The ship shudders violently, listing slightly as water pours in. For the first time, the officer realizes, this is not chaos. This is precision. American precision. He remembers the drills they once mocked. The endless hours of loading, adjusting, calculating, feeding data into strange devices with spinning dials and glowing tubes. Ridiculous, he had said. Impractical, he had scoffed. Now he sees the truth. Each salvo is exactly where it was predicted to land. Each shell strikes the weak point before they can even react. The Americans have mastered fire control. Nearby, another Japanese ship fires blindly into the black, hoping to make contact. Misses. After a few rounds, silence. Their own technology lacking becomes a curse. They fight by instinct while the Americans fight by calculation, and the night belongs entirely to the enemy. Orders are issued frantically. Men run to patch holes, rear out power, and keep guns operational. But every attempt is met with the same terrifying result. The enemy sees everything. They know everything. Above, the officer steps back, hands on a railing, breathing hard. The realization hits him fully. The war is no longer just about courage or skill. It is about machines, numbers, and invisible eyes that never rest. And in this darkness, he feels utterly exposed. A new salvo arcs silently through the black sky. This time, it lands dead center of the bridge. The world erupts. Steel screams as the bridge crumples. Men are thrown like rag dolls. Smoke fills the compartments, burning eyes and lungs, masking screams. Alarms wail in a chaotic symphony as fires spread to ammunition lockers, sending smaller explosions ricocheting through the hull. The officer crawls over debris, bleeding, dazed, trying to maintain command. Every radio he touches is dead or sparking. The engines shudder. Propellers grind as water floods the lower decks. Out at sea, the silhouette of USS Helena remains ghostly, unseen by the Japanese, yet lethal. Guns swivel with mechanical perfection, feeding on data from radar operators and fire control computers. The Americans barely break a sweat. Their fire is relentless, systematic, inevitable. The officer watches his men struggle to reload guns, only to see each shot fall uselessly. He notices the pattern. The Americans adjust instantly, correcting for every movement, anticipating every maneuver. Every desperate attempt to escape or retaliate is calculated before it even begins. Below, a fire reaches a fuel line. A violent explosion throws a hatch across the deck, pinning men beneath steel. Another salvo lands. Another bridge section disappears. The officer finally understands the full scale of what is happening. Their training, courage, and experience cannot compete with this. The invisible machinery, the unseen calculations, the cold precision of American fire control. These are their undoing. Water pours in, fire burns, and the night is filled with screams, smoke, and falling steel. The officer, face streaked with soot and blood, realizes there is no reprieve. They are trapped in a nightmare of technology they had mocked and dismissed. And the next salvo is already on its way. Dawn creeps over the horizon, pale and gray, casting long shadows across a shattered sea. The night's violence has left the Japanese cruiser twisted skeleton of steel, listing heavily, fires still smoldering in the hull. Bodies float in the water, some clutching life jackets, others lost beneath the wreckage. The officer sits slumped on a warped deck plate, hands shaking, eyes staring at the empty waves. He cannot see the Americans, but he can feel them everywhere. Every destroyed gun, every shattered bulkhead, every missed order. The fire control systems they had mocked, the unrealistic radar and computers, had turned the dark into a weapon, a perfect executioner. Nearby ships attempt to regroup, but the lesson has been seared into every mind. Human skill alone cannot match calculated precision. Across the ocean, USS Helena continues on its patrol, undamaged, a ghost of steel cutting silently through the waves, ready to strike again if needed. The Americans have not celebrated. There is no cheering, only the quiet hum of machines performing their duty with terrifying efficiency. For For the Japanese officers, the disbelief is total. Their pride, training, and doctrine, everything they relied on, crumbled in a few hours. They were not defeated by courage, nor by clever maneuvers. They were defeated by an invisible hand, unerring, unblinking, and relentless. The officer finally whispers to himself, voice raw, "Precision is the new war." The sun rises fully, illuminating the broken ship and the survivors clinging to life. The battle is over, but the lesson will haunt every Japanese sailor for the rest of the war. They had dismissed fire control. Now they knew its terrifying truth. Don't forget to like AMD subscribe. Your one click's gone like and subscribe, give me motivation. Thanks for watching.